How's it going, everybody? Welcome to this edition of Across the Bifrost. This is the Mighty Thor podcast, where on each and every episode, we explore the world of Marvel's Mighty Thor. We have come to our last MCU review of the year. We are talking about Black Panther Wakanda Forever today with our fantastic friends, fabulous co-hosts, Faz and Will. Faz, Will, welcome to this Black Panther edition of the Thor show. Oh my gosh, we got a Deadpool episode coming out this week. We got a Black Panther episode. Are we even a Thor podcast anymore?
We are the family tree. The roots grow deep.
Oh, like World Tree, like reference
World
there,
tree, world tree. There, I think there's trees in Black Panther.
I think at this point the MCU is getting really mythical and godlike anyway. So there's a Panther god. It's all good. She cameoed in Love and Thunder, so there's our connection.
Bast is a god.
Astral plane. There's an astral plane.
You've heard the dulcet tones of Will Rose, and Faz is here as well. We're gonna talk about Wakanda Forever. Like I said, the latest Marvel Studios film. It was fantastic. We are ready to break it down, and then later on in the episode, we got a few surprises for you for this Thanksgiving week edition of the show. We're going to be talking about a comic, because when we do our review episodes, we like to correlate a MCU property that just came out to a Thor-related comic. So the trouble with this one is Thor and Black Panther actually haven't been in each other's books that much. So we went the Namor route. And on the way to finding a Namor and Thor story, which there are plenty in older comics, we unearthed a fairly recent, within the last 10 years, I guess, crossover event from Marvel, Avengers versus X-Men. And there are a few issues in this crossover event where Namor goes ham on Wakanda, very reminiscent to what he does in the Wakanda Forever film, and Thor is there because the Avengers are there. So we're going to talk about that in just a little bit. But you know what, guys? We've all seen Wakanda Forever. We all enjoyed it to varying degrees. So let's jump in. I want to hear, Faz, let's start with you, man. What was your first impression of Wakanda Forever going into this film?
Before we fully go in there, this is your spoiler warning for everybody listening.
Right.
We're going to be talking about the
poor
stuff.
Etiquette.
I know you've all seen it because it's been a week or two now, but just in case you haven't,
we're going to spoil the hell out of this.
Drive to your theater.
Right
Spend
now.
the 2 hours, 40 minutes there.
Right.
Download the episodes so you can listen to it on the car ride home.
Yeah.
Or bring your data, whatever. You Americans have unlimited data.
So considerate.
You Americans have unlimited data.
You know how expensive data is way up in the Great White. Anyway, that's
precious commodity vibranium.
He traveled to the theater by dog sled.
All of this is to say, spoiler warning. It was fantastic.
Spoilers
the
aplenty.
Movie was amazing. I'm obviously a Thor diehard. So of Phase 4, Thor 4 is my favorite movie in it, but I think this one was the best movie in
it. Okay. Best in terms of
Phase 4? Phase 4?
Yeah, I think of Phase 4, I think it was objectively the best movie we've had.
Based on what? I know we're going to dig into a lot of things, but based on what?
The cinematography, the story, the way that Phase 4 was kind of all about grief. And Black Panther Wakanda Forever just really got in there and went further with that grief motif than everything since WandaVision, I think.
Yeah.
The CGI was incredible. The world building was insane. The actors really acted their asses off.
We're going to talk about that. Boy, howdy. Everybody acted their freaking butts off. It's crazy that first time around, the original Black Panther, it got some Academy Award buzz. I believe it was one of the first Marvel movies to actually get and not just for sound editing or design or something like that.
Best Picture.
It got a Best Picture nomination, or was it just buzz?
Nomination, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that is nuts. And this time around, we're hearing a lot of similar things from the Academy, possibly Angela Bassett getting a nomination for her acting in the film. Maybe another Best Picture nomination. That would be incredible. But Will, what were your first impressions of Wakanda Forever? I know you saw it opening night. You both saw it opening night, right?
Yeah, I thought I was going to be out of town on that Friday, so I went ahead and bought my tickets for that Thursday night, like the Thursday night release, and we were there first up.
I bet it
I
was a Thursday night
I
relief. You don't have to get anything spoilered.
That's right. The next day I could be on the internet the next day and I have
How
no
pathetic are we?
problem. I
Just
know.
like I
I
can't go on
want
the
my
internet
life.
for a
I
whole
want to be
day.
able to scroll on my phone, so I have to see this movie first thing. No, like I will say phase four, I thought all the phases of Marvel that led up to Endgame, they just stuck the landing so hard. And I think phase four has been a little clunky for me. And some of them have been great, some of them have been okay. Some of it I guess I just the build up and the Easter eggs and the connective tissue that was there leading to Endgame was just so epic. And then phase four, it was just hard for me to figure out what they're doing, how it found its feet. They had some good moments. I say Shang-Chi was probably my favorite phase
Great choice.
four
Okay.
movie. I just loved what that movie did and the beats and the new characters, but then the connective tissue of it all. But then this one, I knew that this one, they were just thrown, you know, uh, the first Black Panther was so good and it meant so
Yeah.
much to so many people. And Chadwick is just embodied that character leading the end game. And so when he died, surprisingly, we all grieved his losing him, but
Yeah.
then also how do you do a Black Panther 2 without him? And I think with all that the cards that they were dealt and still leaning into we're going to do Black Panther 2 and to lean into grief, they couldn't have done it better
Yeah.
in my book. I went into with my expectations and checked to say, like, you know what, it would be cool if you tied into like Doctor Doom and Fantastic Four and Phase 5 and Easter eggs. But then as I'm there, I'm like, let this movie be what it
Let
is.
it be
Yeah.
itself.
Let it grieve the loss of this actor, but also, the character within the movie. And then you have Namor, you have connective tissues, you have a bigger Marvel universe you're building upon, Riri and all
Yeah.
that. And there's some minor plot points I could say, yeah, I could probably edit it here or there, or maybe
I
I
mean,
could
it was a
poke
long
holes.
film.
It was a long film. I
Yeah.
could poke at it a little bit,
It
nitpick a little
felt
bit,
long too.
but all in all, it was I think a fantastic movie, and it did what it was supposed to do. And I'm glad that they didn't rush through the grief too often.
Right. Right.
Humans want to get to like past the grief. We just wait, know what, sweep it under the rug. We don't deal with our grief. We don't deal with our pain. We don't deal with death. We don't face it head on. But we
Yeah.
rush through it, and they didn't rush through it. They sat with it. They didn't recast. They didn't ignore what happened with Chadwick, and they let the movie tell its own story. And and
Yeah.
and I thought they did it masterfully.
I'm glad that both of you hit on this topic that I feel like is being a little well, at least from what I look at on the internet and from things that I've seen in the wider kind of coverage of this current phase of the MCU is the theme, the connective tissue, the theme, like Will was saying, the connective tissue of grief, and the fact that this phase is a response to a cataclysmic event that affected everybody everybody in the Marvel universe. And how often, because the three of us are also comic book fans, we've read our fair share of comics. There is this often this moment of like when a big crossover happens in Marvel or DC or any comic book universe. What happens like the next month after the crossover is done? We go back to the status quo.
Yeah, you might get one book if it's a Thor 750 issue where there's grieving happening, but
Right.
very special case occasion, yeah.
Or you have in these major event crossovers or an event like we're going to talk about here in a little bit,
Yeah.
like there's a major death in the comic book world, and or a major character, you kill them off, but it's comics, so they're going to come back. They're going to be resurrected 1 year, 2 years, 5 years. Everybody's going to come back.
Yeah.
But with this particular death, this particular person's not coming back.
Right.
You could recast T'Challa, you could do that stuff, but this particular person playing this isn't the comic book world, fantasy world, where they'll just come back from where they're not going to be
Yeah.
snapped back. Yeah, they turn to dust, but they're just going to be brought back.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen with this particular individual human that lives in the real world.
Yeah.
So how do we deal with that? And so them dealing with it head on, while still telling a good story and having action and having it be Marvel. Yeah,
Right. It
yeah, it was
didn't
good.
feel like a 2 hour and 40-minute funeral.
Mhm.
No.
And I think that, so one of my first impressions of this was I watched the opening trailer and that was it. I did not go into this movie with, and I enjoy Black Panther, but like Black Panther's not a character I know a ton about. I would say I probably know more than the average bear about Black Panther, but I don't know. I'm not one of those Black Panther fans that came out of the woodwork. And when the movie came out, I know he's an important character. I love Chadwick Boseman's portrayal. I love the world of Wakanda. I feel like this movie really highlighted the world around the Black Panther, and the fact that like the Dora Milaje, the royal throne, how Queen Ramonda has this heavy weight. Like when she walks into that UN meeting, she's not this like, oh, I'm just glad to be here. Like, she's like, no, we're a world power.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting to see that, and that whole scene in the UN was incredible. A big flex from the Wakandans. And I love that we got to see more of the world building. We got to see Shuri take a huge leap forward in the focus point of these stories. Angela Bassett as Queen Ramonda was fantastic. Like, if you've been around, watching movies for any amount of time, you should know the name Angela Bassett,
Mhm.
and you should know that she brings it in every performance. This was no shortage. I mean, Lupita Nyong'o has a great return return as Nakia, and one of my personal favorites. I'm surprised I didn't draft him in our Avengers fantasy draft, but Winston Duke as
Oh my
M'Baku.
God. Yeah.
He would
Holy
have been.
shit. Like, he is so funny.
He had like 5 lines and they were all
And he had great character
perfect.
moments too.
Yeah.
He wasn't just the funny big Jabari guy.
Hmm.
But the characters really stood out to me. The world building really stood out to me. And let's go back around the table and kind of bat around. Vaz has got his tennis gear on right now. Let's do a volley of this other question of what was your favorite moment of the movie. If you can boil your favorite, like you're sitting in the theater, you're eating your popcorn, and you're just like, oh my gosh, like that gets me fired up, or like, oh, that made me tear up. What was your favorite moment of Wakanda Forever? Will, you wanna shoot first with this one? You are muted, Will.
That's embarrassing.
Battle. Ooh,
Hey, hey,
professional podcaster, Will Rose.
yeah, I muted because I was coughing. I didn't want to cough in the microphone. So there you
Well,
go.
how considerate of you. Our listeners really do
Thank,
appreciate that.
so next time I won't, and let my listeners hear. Baz. Um, no, like as I'm thinking about like the moments, like it just started off like usually have this Marvel like page turn fanfare, like pulling you into like all the movies you've seen, the characters in this Marvel universe, but the immediate page turn with all the pictures of like Chadwick as Black Panther in the Marvel movies, and
Yeah,
in silence, no music, no
no
beat,
music.
no fit. Yeah, like there was a moment of silence, so that just drew me into like, oh yeah, let's just acknowledge this right up front. And so I think the weight of the movie, his ghost haunted this movie. I think rightfully so as it going through, but it the weight didn't let up. But I do like, man, I'm growing up at the beach. You guys know I'm gonna pull this in, but
Oh boy.
being a water fan, being a surfer, watching them swim and do their thing, um, catapult orcas.
Yeah,
Really? Yeah,
right.
we're doing
All
that.
the
I would,
telecon
yeah,
like
I would love to
war
be
instruments.
catapulted by an orca. And like I love the orcas. Like this, it would all that underwater stuff was just amazing to me. And then water bombs,
Yeah.
they
I
used their
guess.
own weapons from their own land and environment. I thought that was really, really nice. But I those were the fun parts. But then I guess the part that really stood out for me is she finally goes to the astral plane, and you're like, who's going to show up?
Oh,
Who's
Oh
going to show up? Are they going to have like some footage of Chadwick that
yeah,
they use like how they did with Princess Leia,
like the
and
deep fake
or
stuff.
the deep fake? Are they going to like, did he film something before he died just for this particular movie? All those things are going through my head. But then you have Killmonger sitting there with his heart to heart, like, make you face the mirror, because Suri was like, yeah, I don't buy into these rituals. But pain is happening. Like, look, I'm a minister. Like, yeah, I find your religious rituals bullshit right now because I'm going through deep pain.
Yeah,
And like, no, just go through the motions and go to this funeral. Like, no, no, let her have her pain. Let her go through this stage of grief. And then she faces the guy who really names what she's really feeling, and she has a choice to make whether she's going to go down the road of Killmonger or
yeah,
T'Challa. Like, which wolf are you going to feed in your life? That
yeah.
that for me was very meaningful. And I don't know why I didn't think that would be an option, but our whole theater just gasped.
blew
And I
my
did
mind.
too. And
Yeah,
I was just like, why didn't I see this coming? Of course, perfect. Obviously, that's who she's going to meet and talk to, because he's
yeah.
around and he's alive. And this is a part of, you kill Killmonger, but yet here he shows up. That for me was like, oh, that it carried a lot of
Well,
weight.
just to piggyback off that real quick, it makes sense. Like I know in the moment we're like, oh, she's gonna meet T'Challa, or she's gonna meet Ramonda, or no, it makes complete sense that Killmonger's the one that's gonna be there, because Killmonger is what Shuri was headed down the path to become. She said she
Mm-hmm.
was gonna burn down the world because of her
Mm-hmm.
grief. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what Killmonger was going to do if T'Challa hadn't stopped him in the first movie. It's funny how like grief is such a powerful storytelling element, because we've all experienced grief to some degree,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's losing a relative or losing a loved one, or just like losing a dream, losing hope, losing love. Like we've all lost something, so we can all relate to it on some level. And Shuri was such a relatable character in this,
Mm.
because I think a lot of us, we would want to like do that thing we were talking about earlier. Like we want to like speed through the grief, speed through the consequences of losing people. And Shuri's like a whole year, and she's like, I don't want to hear about the Black Panther. Like the Black Panther's dead. I don't want to like no, I'm not gonna do this. The way Ramonda wanted her to do this. She was gonna handle grief in her own way. But I loved Letitia Wright's portrayal of Shuri in grief.
And then I'm gonna get a little, yeah, sorry, I'm gonna get a little religious, but didn't she like drink the potion and then used water? Like the sacramental nature of like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna drink
Yeah.
from this cup to like die and then be reborn a new person. Like it's all there.
right.
Like that sacramental image, whether you're religious or not, this kind of like the stages of life and death and the seasons, whether leaves die off a tree and sprout again in the spring.
Yeah.
There's that nature of like that sacramental death, rebirth, a part of just life and nature, and the
Yeah, no,
human
it's I mean,
story is all there. And how they told that story was just like, so powerful.
and I don't think Ryan Coogler would deny it. Like the world of Wakanda is a very spiritual world. It's
Mhm.
both this, we as we read in the comics we're about to talk about in a few minutes, Black Panther refers to Wakanda as a world that walks the edge of super science and magic.
Mhm.
Wakanda is both spiritual and very scientific. It's a very
I love
it's a
it.
very weird paradox.
Mhm.
But Faz, did you have a favorite moment from this epic film?
So Will stole my moment, obviously,
Oh,
because it's the
William.
best moment. Literally
Well,
got chills as he was describing it for you listeners.
Me
So
too. Me too.
so I will pick a different moment.
Yeah.
For me, the best part of the movie is the end, the
Mm.
mid-credit scene specifically,
Yeah, it's good.
starting with Shuri finally being able to burn her robes and ending with the twist of all twists. Ryan, why don't you tell the listeners what the twist of all twists was?
So, like, really, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, because we haven't
too
we haven't
late.
really told you any much of anything yet, besides the Killmonger thing. We find out that T'Challa and Nakia had a son, and his name is T'Challa. And Shuri, I love Letitia Wright's expressions in this scene, it's almost like she, the actress, was shocked. Like she has this like compassionate surprise in her face. Like she has like she just let go of the grief of losing her brother finally, I assume by association letting go of her losing her mom, because we lose Queen Ramonda in this movie, which I feel got kind of like underplayed maybe, but then she feels like she has a piece of T'Challa back,
Mm.
because there's this living representation of her brother, her brother's son. And I love that Nakia says like, this is your auntie. And like it's just a cool scene, it's a cool moment. And I think, like, I'll put it this way, I want to see more Shuri in the Black Panther movies. But if that was the last we saw of Letitia Wright as Shuri, I feel like that is a fitting close to her story. Again, I want to see more of her, but like that felt very poetic and appropriate and like a closed book.
Speaking of
Uh,
the poetry too,
yeah.
King T'Chaka said when T'Challa became king, a father who hasn't prepared his children for his passing has failed.
Mm.
Mm,
And Nakia says right at the end, Bubba prepared you, didn't he?
mm.
And he says,
Mm.
"Yep, yep, I knew what had to happen. I knew it was happening." So that's just
Gosh.
Ryan Coogler writing like a motherfucking genius.
Yeah,
Oh
right,
man.
right.
And then you have like, the I love this kind of parallel. So not only with that scene, you also have like the technologically advanced super kingdom of Wakanda, who has all the riches and all the techno and all that they need to have like this almost utopian city.
Yeah.
Where is this kid being raised? Haiti,
Haiti.
Yeah.
poorest nation, in the world, or the third world, that like that has, and yet the smiles on his face. He doesn't have to have all the riches, all the resources, all that there is. He's in a simple house with his mom with a bonfire on the beach with
Yeah.
a smile on his face. Like, yeah, I have peace here. So the compare and contrast of Wakanda with Haiti and the superpower with the third world country, to me, was just like, wow. And then, all right, so his name isn't his name like it's not T'Challa Jr., but it's like it's almost like a French name. What was
Well,
it?
he has a Haitian name,
He has a Haitian name.
and then he
And what did
says,
Haiti
"But my
do?
real name is T'Challa."
Yeah, so he has a Haitian name, but what is at the beginning at the UN? You have France, who is pushing, Wakanda toward this thing. Now, Haiti has a history of breaking away from France and
Mm,
oppression and colonization from France. So this, like, there at the beginning with the UN and France and Wakanda, and one of this to like Haiti, was colonized by France. That together was like, holy cow,
interesting. I didn't
what a
even
good
Yeah.
my
masterful.
world history class knowledge did not come up in that moment.
On
Yeah,
the
yeah.
topic of representation like that too, I think they really nailed Haiti, and they also really nailed the Central Mexican and South American heritage with the
Hmm.
Talocan people.
Yep.
I think that the amount of people that I've seen saying things like, I thought I'd had characters that were for me, but with my heritage, seeing Namor up on camera just meant everything. Like that
Yeah.
change that Marvel made to go from undescript Atlantean person to
Yeah, yeah.
Talokan and being what Talokan is was just an
Yep.
incredible choice.
Yeah. A great way of not just wholesale changing stuff, but Kugler writing it in all the things that changed and being like, almost I don't know, I don't pretend to know what writers think when they're preparing a movie that's gonna probably get critiqued pretty extraneously. But I can just see Kugler being like, okay, I explained everything I needed to explain, try to complain, just
Hmm.
try
Yep.
and try to complain and it not be about the one thing we don't want to say.
Yeah,
um
yeah.
but so that actually brings me to the last thing I want to talk about with Wakanda Forever, because then we're going to talk about Avengers versus X-Men, and this character who we're about to talk about from the movie having a big role in both this film and the crossover we're going to talk about, Namor. This is Namor is I feel like with no small amount of hyperbole, he is one of the most underrated Marvel characters that has also been around the longest. If
Hmm.
you are, so if you're checking out this episode and maybe you're not a comic book fan, first of all, welcome to Across the Bifrost. Sorry we don't have more MCU stuff for you, but we also want to just let you know that Namor has been around since like the beginning. He is one of the first superheroic characters. He's considered the first anti-hero in comics. He is both a mutant but also connected to the Fantastic Four. He crosses so many different streams of comic book history. Namor is an incredibly important character, but also an underrated character because Namor doesn't change a lot. He's usually this, very very dour, very serious, very like almost like punk rock, like I take care of my own and I don't care about the rest of the surface world. He's different than Aquaman in that way where Namor will freaking murder bunch of people. He just doesn't care. And Namor is like I said, an important character. He's been around for a long time. But maybe just a quick hitter, guys. What did you think of Tenoch Huerta's adaptation of Namor and walking away from this film with this brand new character who, he could relate to the Fantastic Four. He could come back in another Black Panther movie. Like we know we're not done with him. So what was your impression of him, and what are you looking forward to seeing out of him next?
All right, so I think that he took the Feather Serpent King, a character that, while very badass in the comics, could not have translated well to the screen if done differently, and absolutely nailed it. He got the seriousness, the hatred of the surface world, the fierce protection,
Yeah.
and the reasons he has for why he feels the way he does are excellent. Like adding the backstory of his family being attacked by the Spanish settlers and them
Yeah.
sneaking away with their version of the heart-shaped herb, the whole family kind of having to rebuild as fish people, and him being born into that as a god was very cool. And
Yeah.
he had the stoic kind of, he is the kind of god that the angry people want Thor to be. The
Yeah.
very serious, not joking, I will protect my people and I'll murder anybody who gets in my way kind of god.
Right.
But it
Right.
works for this character in this story. He is just
Yeah.
smoldering intensity.
Right. But also like I felt like to equal that out when he's talking with Shuri, he has a lot of charm.
Yeah.
Like he's equally intense and also very charming.
He's a statesman. He can
Right.
play the political game, and he
Very
knows, like,
diplomatic. Very
just because he
diplomatic.
can destroy a nation doesn't mean he's going to unless if he has to.
Yeah.
If people can be peaceful and go on their way, then he's happy with it. It's only when necessary will he murder a scientist from MIT.
Murder a high school girl. Or no, like a
Yeah.
teenage girl.
She's like 19,
Okay,
okay?
okay. He's threatening to murder a 19-year-old girl, and Faz
Look,
is I don't know, trying to
look,
represent
I
him.
am a huge fan of Riri Williams. She was amazing in the movie. I can't wait to see Ironheart.
Okay.
And I need to get that out there. Otherwise, people are gonna think I don't like her, like how Will doesn't like
No,
dogs, and we
no.
we just can't have that. Yeah.
Real quick, and
Wait, great,
Will,
great,
you can
great.
add to this too, but like I thought Riri was perfect in
Yeah.
this. I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't love the suit, but I liked her. I liked her a lot. I felt like it was just enough of Riri to be like, oh, I like her, and it wasn't too much. We're like, she dominated a movie that wasn't really about
Hmm.
her. But I really enjoyed her, and I think the actress's name is escaping me, but I'm excited to see her reprise that role and be like, I just want to know more about that character. So sorry, Will, any thoughts on Riri and your thoughts on
Yeah,
Namor?
yeah. I think there's my plot hole with the movie. Like I just, all right, she's a scientist, she's doing this stuff. We gotta take her out. We gotta kill her. I'm like, no, couldn't you just like have a conversation and be like, can you stop making this stuff? It's exploiting our country. And I feel like Riri would have been like, cool, yeah, I won't contribute to
And
the oppression of a country.
it's a
I was
school
like,
project too, so
it's
like
a
you
school
like
project,
the
so
plans
like
are out there already. Like this,
we
it's
could
not
have,
like it's
Yeah.
secret,
yeah,
right?
It's not
we
like
could
she's
have
an
had a,
AIM scientist that's like bent on
yeah.
selling it to the highest bidder.
Yeah. So that was the weakest part. I'm just going to kill the scientist and da 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 da. But I get it. You want to bring her in. So how she was brought in felt a little weak sauce for me. But like her character, bringing her in, the suit, all that stuff. Like I thought she was great and can't wait to see what she does. And again, this build to the Young Avengers and having these characters they're introducing the Marvel Universe to go have the next generation of superheroes be raised up. Like, it's genius. I love it. I love that they're doing that and can't wait to see what they do with it. Namor, I thought was great. Yeah, he had that intensity. You don't mess with him, that kind of thing. But also he had that little charm where I feel like he could turn to the camera and do a smirk and be like, yeah, he knows what he's up to. He knows
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
he's doing. And whether he's going to hit on Sue Richards at some point, I don't know, but probably.
It's gotta happen.
And I think like him, like the fanboy in me, where he flat out names I'm a mutant. You're like, oh, he said it. I felt like that meme of pointing at the TV.
Of Leo
Yeah,
DiCaprio, like,
go there. He did it. He did it. He said it. Imperious
and you
Rex. He said
know,
that too.
every boyfriend turned to his girlfriend and was like, well, actually, like I was watching on New Rock Stars, and did you know that the mutants are like coming to the MCU? And the
yeah.
girlfriend's just like, I can't believe I haven't broken up with you yet.
No,
Right,
no, no,
right.
no. The girlfriend is saying, "Honey, of course, I'm wearing my Hi, my name is Eric Voss t-shirt. I obviously love the rock stars."
Right. So the
Much
mutant
better.
aspect,
Much
I
better.
they couldn't have gone down that Atlantis route. Like DC did it, Aquaman did it. They can't do the King
Oh
of
yeah, they did.
Atlantis,
Oh
so
yeah, they
yeah.
did.
So they DC beat them to the punch there, which is the only place they really did it. But like I I don't see how they portrayed him in a way that's not exactly like the comics, but they did it in a way that was still in his own character and in a way that you could have him for the MCU and let the comics be the comics, let the movie be the movie.
One more thing before we jump to the comic too, Ryan.
Yes.
Like you said, Will, I loved the use of the water weapons and the fish because if you think about it in terms of what they did, like hundreds of people are being pulled by a whale and thrown by the flipper to go and fight. Just sounds ridiculous. But when you're watching it, you aren't thinking that is a very goofy thing. You're thinking, holy shit, that's badass.
Yeah.
And like the fact that they were able to
Yeah.
ground fish being like flying around and bringing their people with them and like one of them was carrying them in a big net and they all came flying out of the net and nobody went, oh my God, that's goofy. Everybody went, wow, what
So
a cool
good.
way to travel, right? Like that's
Yeah.
they
Because
really
within the
made
world, it makes sense. Like
yeah,
I love that. Just two things that I want to like kind of like close on with this is that I love that Talokan was not this like oh, it's underwater, but it's bright as daylight down here. Like it actually felt like we were deep in the ocean.
yeah.
It felt like we were like in a like a deep trench.
Artificial sun and everything.
Right. It felt like we were watching like a James Cameron like going down to the Titanic kind of thing. And I really enjoyed that because it felt real. It felt authentic. Now I realize I'm saying that about a world that is completely fictional. But I think one of the great things about fictional stories is like if it can feel real,
Hmm.
then in our minds, in our hearts, and for a lot of us in our souls, it is real. It doesn't matter if it actually is a place that exists. It can still have real tangible meaning if it feels real, if we think it's real. And I feel like Coogler and the rest of the team that did Wakanda Forever did that, because we know it's funny in a certain culture, in the black experience, like Wakanda is not a real place, but to that community, Wakanda is very real.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Like Wakanda Forever does mean something, and it's from a comic book.
Yep.
Like, it's incredible the power of storytelling when people's imaginations are captured. I feel like Black Panther is, in the last 10 years, it's one of the movies that has become so synonymous with a certain culture, and it is fictional. Black Panther does not exist. Wakanda is not a real place. But I defy you to try and convince anyone whose imagination has not been captured that is true, because it's such a powerful piece of storytelling. I also just wanted to quickly say about Namor, it is really funny. They'll completely change things about a character, and you'll see, half the internet go outside their freaking minds about stuff, but then they'll do it to another character and it's like, oh, it's fine, yeah, whatever. It's like, it's just funny. It's funny to me, the characters that people decide to pick and choose. Like, oh, you making Thor a girl is a huge deal, but you doing this to this character, movies are movies. It's like, okay, whatever.
Representation matters.
That's a pet peeve of mine, and it's something that I'm just like, oh, so it's okay when this happens, but it's not okay when this. Okay, I just want to make sure. That's Ryan's gripe corner.
Love it.
On the other side of this brief intermission, we are going to be talking about Avengers versus X-Men issues 7 and 8. Namor with the Phoenix Force, we're going to explain, with the Phoenix Force, goes to Wakanda and decides to wreck some shit. And then Captain America, Thor, Black Panther, the Avengers, they have to stop Namor before all of Wakanda is submerged and destroyed. We will be back with that after this brief break. Okay, friends, it's that time of the episode where I remind you about our Patreon. It is called the Thor Core, and if you join for just a few bucks a month, you can get early episodes, bonus episodes, and news about the show before anybody else, before anybody on Instagram, before anybody on these episodes on the main feed. You get to know ahead of time what's coming down the pike for the show. We've got a fantastic December planned for you, and our 2023 is really shaping up to be an epic lineup of shows. We are so excited to have some great guests coming up. There's a few secret guests that you're gonna flip for. So it's gonna be a great time. And if you're part of the Thor Core, you get to support the show. You get all those episodes. It's a great group of folks over there on Patreon. So if you want to join, check out the link in our episode description and join today. But either way, we hope you enjoy the rest of this fantastic review episode. Okay, everybody, we are going to run through two fantastic issues of Avengers versus X-Men, which was a wide-spanning crossover that came out quite a few years ago, but it was put together by a fantastic cast of writers, Jason Aaron, Matt Fraction, Brian Michael Bendis, like among others, just got together. I feel like Jonathan Hickman was a part of this. Mm-hmm. This is a crossover that was put together by comic book writing royalty. And we're going to read two issues today. Issue 7 is written by Matt Fraction, and it was drawn by Olivia Coipel. And then issue 8 was done by Brian Michael Bendis and I believe Adam Kubert. So these two issues, let me bring you up to speed real quick, and then we'll get Faz's thoughts, we'll get Will's thoughts, and we have a special guest a little bit later on in the episode. Just a brief teaser there for you. This is a crossover that hinges on a select few X-Men gaining the distributed power of the Phoenix Force. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the Phoenix Force, Google that Marvel Wiki article and enjoy about 4 hours of reading, because the Phoenix is a complicated, it's a very powerful force. That's what you need to know right now, and it's split up between five X-Men characters: Cyclops, Emma Frost, Magic, Colossus, and our guy Namor, for the purposes of this conversation.
Who's a mutant?
If you didn't know, the mutants are coming to the MCU. In this crossover, the Phoenix Five, who are these X-Men who are powered by the Phoenix, they are trying to remake the world, and the Avengers are not really fans of how they're doing it. There's a lot more complicated story details going into that, so we encourage you that you go read the whole crossover. But yes, Will.
No, I was just going to say that the beginning of this setup, like you have X-Men versus the Avengers. Of course, we want to see them fight. Of course, we want to see who would win in the battle. But the looming thing is that, like in the first couple of issues, the Phoenix is on its way to Earth,
Right.
and so the Avengers are like, we have to stop this, and the X-Men are like, no, we got it. This is part of us. We leave it
This is our
alone.
thing.
We'll handle this is our thing. And Cap's like, nah, we got it. So then there's this kind of buildup of the Phoenix coming to Earth and how are they going to respond? And that's the conflict between X-Men and Avengers. And
Yes.
then when it gets here, it's like split. Usually it goes into one person, usually Jean Grey or someone that looks like Jean Grey, like Hope. But no, they're like, no, we're going to split it up into like 5 X-Men, and then there you go. You're off to it's 12 rounds. It's X-Men versus Avengers, not issue 1, issue 2, round one, round 2,
Fight.
round 3, fight. Exactly it. So there's 12 rounds, ding ding, who's gonna win?
So we get to issue 7, and again, a lot has happened. Go read it.
Issue 7.
Round 7. We get to round 7.
Round 7.
And Cyclops is leading the Phoenix 5, and he's trying to play the long game here. He's not trying to just destroy the Avengers. He's trying to basically have public opinion change in their favor against the Avengers. And Namor does not like this plan. Doesn't like it at all. Namor is like, this is not a game. This is a war, and we're not fighting it like it's a war. And Emma Frost kind of gets in Namor's head, as she is wont to do with many characters.
Hey,
and
Namor likes those blondes.
He does. You know what? He does have a type. He does have a type. And he Namor is convinced to go and basically wreak havoc on Wakanda, where he's going to send a giant tidal wave. He's going to single-handedly try to wipe Wakanda off the face of the earth because he's got history there. And also the Avengers are keeping some X-Men there as prisoners. And Namor is going to go get them back, and he's not going to do it the Scott Summers way. So he goes and he attacks Wakanda, and then issue 8 is essentially one huge, big, long fight scene of the Avengers trying to save Wakanda from a Phoenix Force empowered Namor. And that's where I will bring my friends and my co-hosts in. Faz, what did you think of this? I know Will and I maybe are more avid comic book readers, but I wanted to know what your thought of this crossover was. Was this the first time you had read Avengers versus X-Men?
So I was familiar with this story because of a game I play, Marvel Future Fight.
Awesome.
Because they went deep into the Phoenix 5 story because they did the uniforms for all of them. So like Cyclops got a new uniform, Colossus did. So I knew what it was. And getting into this, it was just like you used the word earlier, Ryan, and it's the word that we used for War Thor. It was so metal. It's just like there's so much fire. There's so much. The costumes look great. Namor looks maybe the best he ever has. The Cyclops Phoenix 5 outfit is just incredible with the fire around. Emma Frost looks fantastic as always. And
calm down, Faz.
It was a very, very, very fun time. And it's really nice to see kind of rogue Namor hating the surface world, going on a one-man kamikaze mission and almost succeeding. Like even Thor was hitting him with Mjolnir, and he was like, do you think I care? I'm the Phoenix.
Yeah, there is a moment in here where all the Avengers are like ganging up on Namor, and one way or another, like Cap tries his best, Black Panther tries his best, and then there's one big, double page kind of spread panel of all the Avengers jumping in. And of course, our guy Thor, who we didn't forget about, listeners. We still know which side our bread is buttered on. This is a Thor podcast. Thor and Namor actually have a one-on-one kind of like brief fight where there's a panel of Namor being distracted, and Thor, it's a big long vertical panel, and Thor has Mjolnir over his head and he's jumping down, and it is heavily implied that Thor just lightning and thunders the shit out of him. But because he's imbued with the Phoenix Force, Namor can take on almost everybody that is in Wakanda. And they're trying to, there's a storyline kind of in the background where they're trying to get Hope Summers to Kunlun, where she can be trained to fight against the Phoenix Force. And that's where the conclusion of the crossover goes. So again, if you read the whole thing, you'll know where it goes. But there's a lot of fighting and going back and forth until the rest of the Phoenix Five show up, because the Avengers subdue Namor. And then, Will, what happens after Namor is subdued and he is stopped?
Yeah, let me just say that like the art, like Coppel, like in issue round 7, like it is just peak comic book creating. And the last page, again, have to bring this up as someone who grew up at the beach and like surfing. Namor is literally riding a wave.
Oh, so good.
Who will kind of like he's standing on top again, Jesus in it out, doesn't need a surfboard, just riding on his feet, like riding in on his own, walking on water. And they're like, oh man. But then the next round 8, that Cap's like, damn you, Namor. Which I'm like, oh man, if you can get Cap to cuss, I'm like, language, Cap. Language. What are we doing? But yeah, they all foul. They do all they can just to subdue or just knock them down. And Spidey's like, did we win? We won. Did we just win? And Cap's like, what? No, we didn't win. We just barely knocked them out. And here
it
comes
took
the
all
other
of us
4.
to beat one of them.
And here comes the other 4. And growing up an X-Men fan and reading Uncanny X-Men, Colossus was like my favorite character. And to see him like maxed out and infused with the Phoenix Force and being a badass. There's even a moment where Colossus and Thor are fighting and swapping blows, which, man, that got me going. I was like, yeah. And I collected this series way back in 2012, but they to revisit this, I forgot how good it is. And the art, the writing with this all-star creative team, And Jason Aaron, our fan favorite Jason Aaron, is a part of this writing process too.
There is a fantastic tie-in series with this. It's Avengers versus X-Men Versus, which is like one-on-one fights between an Avenger character and an X-Men character. If you want a Black Panther one, Black Panther and Storm actually fight in this crossover. It's nuts. I forget who Thor fights. I think Thor fights Emma Frost in this one, which is such a weird, and that's a weird kind of, I would have think like, oh, Colossus. Yeah, there's a lot of different fights that are really good. That's a great tie-in. But basically the way this ends is Hope Summers is she's the one that, and I'm sure there's a ton more X-Men fans that are more qualified to explain how Hope Summers works. But Hope Summers is basically the way that they end up beating the Phoenix Force that eventually gets all kind of bottled up into Scott Summers, and Professor Xavier gets involved. The Scarlet Witch is a huge part of this crossover because the Scarlet Witch, well-known X-Men mutant, but also a very famous Avengers member. So she kind of, lives in both worlds there. But the Scarlet Witch is the only character that the X-Men are actually afraid of. They've got the Phoenix Force, and Wanda is still the only person they're actually afraid of.
Because there's a point where she literally says no more mutants and changed everything.
Yep.
For the mutants way back. Bendis
in the House of M.
House of M. So like she carries that weight. And there's a part in this thing where somebody says no more Avengers, which I thought was funny.
I believe Scott says that.
Yeah, Scott says
no more Avengers.
No more Avengers. So it's like, yeah, the stakes are high. The stakes are real high.
I'm gonna have to keep rereading this. But to kind of close up our conversation on Avengers versus X-Men, we got to see an awesome Namor Thor fight, of which there are plenty. Wakanda is laid waste by Namor again, and Black Panther is set to rebuild Wakanda. Wakanda kind of feels like New York City, where it's constantly being rebuilt just for the next fight. But Faz, will like final thoughts on AVX, and then we'll go to another brief intermission. Faz, you got final thoughts about AVX?
Final thoughts. Given that we've been reading the Jason Aaron Avengers so much recently,
yes,
it was entertaining to go back to Cap leading the team again.
Oh yeah.
Because it's been Black Panther leading for a while, and he's done a fantastic job in Aaron's team. But the classic old man Captain America energy was very nostalgic to listen to him being just like everybody's trying to quip around him, and he's like, "Can you guys just F off and focus on the mission, please?" Like
Yeah, like
Tony's trying to joke around,
come
Spidey's
on,
trying to joke
guys.
around. Even Black Panther's funny in this, and
Yes.
Cap's like, "Guys, like there are 5 phoenixes. We can't even handle one. Can we
Right.
focus up, please?" Just his
Right.
exasperated old man energy was very funny. So I enjoyed having that back.
There is, you just reminded me of this, Faz. There is one moment where Black Panther does what every person, I mean, what I would want to do. Black Panther bitch slaps Tony Stark.
Mm.
Fantastic. Tony's like, well, if I have to build a suicide suit and go into the Phoenix 5 and miss, I'll do it. And Black Panther's like, just because you screwed up, it doesn't mean you get to die and not be a part of the solution. And he slaps the crap out of
You
him.
can keep your 13% of a solution.
Oh, it's so good. T'Challa just gets a big open hand slap on his face. Will, did you have any final thoughts for AVX?
Well, yeah, I mean, these two issues are great. The art's fantastic. The writing's great. This series came off of like in the wake of like Civil War, in the comics.
Yeah.
And so, what would it be like if the heroes fought the heroes, who would win? We all, us fanboys and fangirls, like think about who would win in a fight. And so somebody that I could see, like the Marvel bullpen, these creators going, what if like the X-Men and the Avengers put them together? Who would win in a fight? Kind of thing. Let's really push them to see what would happen in the action, and that's exactly what they did. And they didn't do it like for 6 issues for a trade. They did it like 12 rounds, this long with fill-ins. It's a big crossover that lasted
a whole
year
of comics.
A whole year of comics that did this, and I'd kind of forgot about this until you lifted it up. And man, we might get it. We might get it. They're bringing the X-Men to the MCU. You got Namor claiming a mutant. You got Miss Marvel saying that she's a mutant in the MCU. So at some point we might get Avengers versus X-Men.
In 2032, we're getting this crossover. It's going to be based on this. The fans are going to complain that the Phoenix is purple instead of red, or whatever the changes end up being.
Yeah, exactly. It's gonna be the Phoenix 4 instead of Phoenix 5.
Yeah,
like, what are you doing?
Hey, I'm okay with whatever adaptation they do, as long as Galactus isn't a freaking cloud. Right. I'm fine with.
You've just spoken it into existence.
I know.
Oh my gosh. But everybody, that has been our discussion with Faz and Will. We do have an extra little bonus part of the episode on the other side of this break, but we're gonna say goodbye to our friends Faz and Will. They'll be back in a few weeks, where we have a fantastic December planned for you. It's just going to be the 3 of us talking comics, talking end of the year awards, and then we have a very special Christmas episode we're going to do. All of those are plugs for episodes that are weeks from now, but we just want you to know the 3 of us are going to be back. The Phoenix 3. Now it's probably best. It's probably best that we'll just be the Warriors 3. We'll just be the Warriors.
Warriors 3 is better. Yeah.
So everybody, have a great rest of the episode on the other side of this break. Okay, everybody. So Will and Faz are gonna join us next week. We've got some other great stuff planned for December, but right now I've got an extra special guest joining us to talk a little bit more about Wakanda Forever and to share their opinion on the AVX comics that we just went over. Welcoming to the show, Namor Cosplay. Namor, how is it going this morning? When you're on Across the Bifrost for the first time, it's so excited to have you.
I'm excited to be here. This is gonna be really fun. So.
I came across your cosplay a long time ago. I feel like your handle is Namor, but you've done so many different cosplays, and I wanted to just let the listeners know what got you started in doing cosplay, and how many different cosplays do you currently have? I know you have quite an arsenal.
Yeah. Well, I like to consider my cosplay in 2 phases. I kind of started cosplaying in 2016. I did like the Punisher at like Comic-Con. That was my first cosplay, but I kind of only did like that. I did like maybe like something like once a year just for LA Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Like because 2016 is out here for college over the summer, so that didn't really count. I didn't really cosplay again until 2017 2017. I did 2017 was the Mummy. I did like a gender bend from Aminet from the movie with 2017 movie.
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah, that was really fun. But then I kind of stopped cosplaying after that. I just kind of got busy with other things in my life, and I kind of always wanted to do something more, but I never really did because it was just like a lot of time, and I was just getting my footing out in the industry in LA. But the pandemic hit.
Oh boy, did it.
Yeah, yeah. Thankfully, I was working the whole time, so I was blessed there. But
Yeah.
at that there was a point where the first couple months I was like catching up on the shows of it. I'm like, because everyone's like, oh, we should watch this. So like everything that's on my list, I've been watching. Like I actually at one point dropped, I think like $200 on comic books from Amazon because like
Wow.
there's like all these books that were like in my Amazon cart. I'm making like money and I'm not spending it. So I was this is I was like, I've been dying to read this. So I was like, I have all the time in the world to read this now. So I dropped like $200 on like comics, and it got to a point I was like, what am I, I feel like what am I supposed to do with myself now? I've read everything, I've watched everything, and it's like Namor's my favorite, and for a very long time, and I've always wanted to cosplay him, but I've always had body image issues, and so I kind
Yeah.
of timed it out with I started doing physique competitions during the pandemic
Okay.
as well. So I timed my first Namor shoot with my physique show, so they're like within the same 2 days. So like at least I was like at a certain level with my body.
Yeah.
How it first got started, and I was like, I need to do the black armor from it's not the Atlantis attacks. I've done two versions of the black armor. One's just been upgraded.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it was just like the regular black armor that he wore. But I kind of made my own little twist to it. So that's where I kind of got started. And it was
Yeah.
just the pandemic was great because it was a creative outlet that wasn't my job.
Yeah.
Never,
Yeah.
but it was nice to creatively think and use my brain to like do something instead of just reading or watching something. So it really, made it really exciting, and I haven't really stopped since.
So I've got a few questions there because there's a few things you mentioned there that,
Yeah.
I really want to pick at. With that $200 Amazon cart, was that full of mostly Namor stuff, or did you have other things in there?
I mostly have all my Namor stuff already. But it was like other things like actually it was a lot of the X-Men stuff. Because
Right.
I wasn't really a big X-Men fan growing up. Now I am, but a lot of it was a lot of X-Men or catching up on some Guardians of the Galaxy because I'm a big Nova fans, but I never really
Oh,
read the Guardian side of things during the Annihilation Wave or actually
right.
post Annihilation. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
They
so
made
that
their
whole
big comeback around that time.
yeah,
Yeah.
because one of my favorite eras that isn't Namor is Annihilation, Annihilation Conquest, War of King, Realm of Kings, and
Oh,
Phantom Imperative. That whole cosmic arc is just it's beautiful.
the 2000s, man. There was some good stuff in there.
Like the irony too about because Nova is one of my second favorite characters of all time. I've also cosplayed him, but I got into Nova accidentally because I went to the comic shop because Namor was having his 2007 solo series releasing at that time.
Okay.
I was there for that to buy it, and I noticed the Nova cover. I think it was Nova #3. It was just those covers are just beautiful, and I was like, "Who is this?" And I was thinking I was like 8 or 9 or something like that, and I was at that point you're just like that's sick. Who is that? So that's how I got
Right.
into Nova when I was searching for Namor. So they kind of go hand in hand.
Is
So
that still so that 2000 series for Nova, was that still the Richard Rider
yeah,
Nova? So that
yeah.
wasn't Sam Alexander yet.
No, I don't think
Okay.
that was Alexander.
So then so you buy that big fat stack of comics and you read, like, I mean, you're covering a lot of different bases there. You got Cosmic Marvel, you've got,
Yeah,
Namor. Where did that love of Namor specifically come from? Because he is one of those characters where if you find someone who has a niche, or they're like, I love Namor,
yeah,
it's not as common as someone's like, oh, I love Spider-Man. It's like, well,
yeah,
at some level, doesn't everyone kind of like Spider-Man?
yeah.
But when you find someone that's like, I love Namor, it's like, okay, I've got to know where that came from, because he's not
Sure.
in the zeitgeist as much, as a lot of
No.
other characters, but he's been around forever.
Yeah, the modern age just kind of fumbled the ball with him because he used to be like, top tier, like one of the most recognizable faces, like, especially like in the Silver Age, which is my favorite run.
He's
But
everywhere in the Silver Age.
yeah, he's the best. Those are my favorite comics because the modern age just kind of fumbled the ball. But Um, I got into them through the Invaders, actually.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
My dad, I used to stay with my grandparents from my dad's side after school sometimes, and was at elementary school, and he had 6 brothers, so there's a lot of comic books laying around.
Wow. Yeah.
And there's a lot of Captain America. I read a lot of Captain America growing up, and then the Invaders were there as well, which is if people don't know, it's Captain America, the Human Torch, Jim Hammond, not Johnny Storm, and Namor, obviously, and Bucky and Toro and whatever.
Yeah.
But so I got introduced to there because I was like, who is this guy? Like he was Captain America is this like, at that era, he's like goody two shoes, like leading
Very virtuous.
yeah, he's very virtuous. And then you have Namor, who's just like, I'm only here for me, and like he's fighting for the good cause, but he's still like a wild card. And I got very interested in who he was, and we had a few Submariner comics. I think there's only like 3 of them, so there wasn't many, but I really enjoyed them. One of them was a Tales to Astonish, number 74. No, sorry, 74 and 76, and then there's one Submariner something. It was something with the Hulk.
Wow.
But so that's where I got there. Then I kind of sourced it out myself. We try to find some things here and there because at that age there wasn't like digital, so we went to some comic shops. Yeah, so we found some stuff there, and that's where it kind of spiraled. I just really thought he was a wild card, and he's a king who does what he has to do for his people, and that made him like very fun to read because you never know, like he could be helping out the surface world one issue, the next issue he declares war.
Right. That's kind of his thing where it's like you read a lot of I believe oh goodness, Bill Everett is the one that created Namor. He's essentially the creator that's most closely associated with Namor.
Yeah, he created Namor and the Torch.
And he's often this character where it's like he's on the edge of a knife, where it's like, I'm gonna help you or I'm gonna friggin' destroy you.
Yeah.
It's like anything can set him off. And I think that's gonna be, when we get into like our talk about the movie, that's gonna be really fun to dig into because a lot of those themes came out in Wakanda Forever as well. So cosplay, you said it kind of spiraled from there. Your love of comics, your love, turned into cosplay. I will say Namor feels like a cosplay that's pretty bold to do because a lot of his costume is just you. So like you said, like you were getting into these physique competitions, like was Namor one of those like, like it's a confidence thing to do Namor when you do the shoots, because you can't just put on a suit, your body essentially.
That's also like why I'm kind of tired right now, because I've been, if people have been following me, or I've been doing shoots basically since July, like straight. So I've been it's a lot of work. What people don't realize is going into it, because like I've also like work out a lot, and I still work with my coach. I don't do physique shows anymore. I did like 3, but then like I got a promotion in my job, so I got I just didn't have the time to do like insane cutting for these shows. Like,
right, it's a little unsustainable.
We were trying to make it because we were trying to get to July, like this past July we were trying to do one show, but then he's like, okay, so I need you to increase your cardio for 1 hour every night. I was like, I can't fucking do it. I'm tired. Like I can't make
it. I don't have the energy.
Like I can still do it, but like it's been good that we figured out a new way to train me. And this guy, he's like actually really like training you because it feels like you're training for a superhero movie. And I was like, yeah, I guess so.
I mean, add some acting and some scenes and you're pretty much already there.
Yeah. Too bad I'm not a good actor, so I can pose in motion, but I can't act.
The shoots are very convincing, though. They look like MCU still.
Yeah, I try to, because that's kind of my thing with my photos is I put a lot of work into these cosplays, and my goal is always like also just to imitate the comics and imitate art. But I also put a lot of work into this, and I want to make sure that my photos match the effort I put into it. So I've been able to work with really great photographers out here. One of them, Eric Carroll's, I work with him a lot. He did like Lady Dorma and Black Panther, and he just did that Trinity shot with me as well. So he's just really talented.
Great. Honestly, well, we should have said this at the beginning. If you're not following at Namor Cosplay on Instagram, are you on Twitter as well?
Yeah, I'm on everything at Namor Cosplay. So
I
own that hand.
You need to go check that out. The Trinity shot is really cool. I was pleasantly surprised. I was like, oh, that's him, all three of them, and
Yeah.
I really did enjoy that.
There's two more photos coming like that. They're working on hopefully the next couple of days. It's like the next we broke it up. We actually shot it first. We were trying to do all like 7 in one shot.
Oh wow.
It was a little busy, so we went and redid it again. And at that when we redid it, I also had that new MCU one, so we had 8. So we broke it up into
Wow.
3 through 2 photos.
So you have 8 Namor
Yes.
cosplays, and how many do you have overall? Like that you have completed, and you could go do a shoot right now with, I guess.
Yeah. I have 8 Namors. I have a Nova, Icarus, Homelander, uh, almost to finish Makari, and that's comic Makari, not movie, because it's a woman. But I think that's it. It's still a lot. So.
Your closet must look crazy then.
I have 4 large shoulder armor pieces. I'm running out of space. So these shoulder armors take a lot of space.
That's oh
like,
my gosh.
no,
I always love when nerds have to like explain why they don't have any more room for stuff.
Yeah.
It's like comic boxes, cosplays, action figures, like all different sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
Do you collect any other like Namor merch, like Marvel Legends or things like that?
Yeah, I mean, if people are on video, you could see that I got like all my Namor stuff in that corner over there.
Oh my.
Yeah,
it's like a little shrine.
Yeah, it wasn't like that before. It just started because of the movie, because there's all this stuff you can buy now. So
right.
I just have that on display with like some of my favorite covers, and because I got some old ones, and I like to put my favorite covers on display. So that's pretty cool. Yeah.
We will at the end. I know you've done this on your Instagram, but I would love for at the end of our conversation when we get to talking about comics, like for you to recommend some comics for people to read. Because you did that great series of reels on your Instagram for that. But I would love for listeners to catch that as well. But there's another thing that you got to do through through cosplay and kind of being one of the guys that's known in this cosplay space for doing this character. You got to go to the Wakanda Forever premiere, and I was just wondering if you could tell people what that experience was like, and then we can actually dig into talking about some movies.
Yeah, sure. I went as a +1. I don't know how there's a list, so it's a whole deal. But when I like posted my story, I didn't get an invite. Like a whole bunch of people reached out to me, and one from Andy, he took me as a +1.
Oh,
which
awesome.
is great. And if people saw my latest Namor cosplay, the gold armor from the movie, I made that in 2.5 weeks. It was very stressful. I've never done that.
Wow.
I usually take my time and let things go, but I was like, I need to make this for the movie. Like, if I don't finish, we're the Phoenix 5. But I was like, I have to finish this. So
right.
Yeah, I just about died doing it because it was like I work full time, but then also at the same time I still have to go to the gym. I can't skip the gym. Like
no, you cannot. With this character, you cannot skip the gym.
I was like, oh, maybe I can skip. I was like, shit, but like I have to go because it's part of the costume. So
right.
So I'm still trying to finish it, but I finished it at 11:53 at night the day before. So right under the wire.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
But it was really cool. So we got to go. And we were in the fan pit, which was great. We had a bunch of Namors on our side, and the other side of the fan pit was mostly Panthers, cosplayers, and it was just really a great experience, I think, for me. I really just was so excited for this movie. I was so excited for Tenoch and like him being Namor. And it was just really cool meeting him in person and just like that's Namor, like right in front of me. Like,
he seems like a pretty cool dude.
Yeah, and like. It was really cool. I got a video of him saying like Imperious Rex because the Namor fandom was requesting it. So I made sure to get that for them.
Right.
I actually went viral because when I was with Kevin Feige, I like got a video of him and I said, hey, like when's Namor getting a solo film? He's like, oh, we'll have to see about this. And then apparently my Twitter just blew up and like all these like fandom news sites.
That's awesome.
And stuff. So it's like shit.
So you're throwing it out there in the ether so that everybody knows, like you asked the guy for the for the movie you really want to see.
I was doing God's work because I stopped recording because I just stopped recording. But I wish I didn't because after that I told him I was like, hey, the Namor fandom, we want to see Lady Dorma in a Namor film, and he gave me like this look, like I see you, like For those who don't know, it's like Namor and Lady Dorma. They're like Silver Age. She died at the end of it, but unfortunately, but they're soulmates. So
Yeah.
loves of each other's lives. So we were very about that, and I wanted to plant that seed in his head. So
Yeah.
we also had like a good moment too, because I told him like just like my history a little bit. I said, hey, like, you know, like I'm a Namor fan for a very long time, very excited for this, yada yada. And I was telling him about one thing, to beckon back to what you were saying about how like Namor's a niche character. We call it I call it dubbed it, but we called it Namor Nation. It's like our small but mighty fandom, as we called it.
Right, right.
But we're like a little corner of the internet, but we kind of just blew up now, which is great.
Hey,
But
that
yeah,
it's always great when those little niche, you know, kind
yeah,
of hopefully it's not niche anymore, you know, because like
yeah,
the MCU has made a lot of, you know, smallish characters
yeah,
these big multi-million dollar properties. Like I remember when before Ant-Man came out, I
yeah,
remember some friends of mine who like were comic book fans
yeah,
were like, oh, this they've jumped the shark. They're not gonna, this is not gonna work. I'm like, just
yeah.
watch, it'll work.
It'll
Like
work.
Paul Rudd, it'll work. You know, Scott Lang, it'll work.
And
Like,
it worked with like being totally true to the character too. Like
right.
we were joking about like the costume, and we said it's not like some over designed MCU wetsuit. It's like, no, it's the green trunks and the gold bracers, like it, and the little wings and the ears. Like
Yeah,
it's they nailed the look. Like they
right.
did like try to like reinvent the wheel.
You can, you know, if you work hard enough at it and you pay attention to detail and you try to
Yeah.
add enough creativity to the adaptation, you can make most things work. You know, the only thing I've asked for in all these episodes that I've done is like, just don't make Galactus a cloud again. Just
Oh,
don't make him a cloud again.
no, no.
That's the only one that I'm like, didn't make
Yeah.
sense. But so you got to see the film that night, and I
Yeah.
wanted to know your thoughts on the film. And really, we know kind of the reason you were going to this movie.
Yeah.
So what was the film like? What were some of your favorite parts from the movie?
Is this a spoiler free talk or?
We have spoiled much already on this episode, and
Okay, great,
spoiler
great.
warnings have been given. So
Um,
cut
I
loose.
will I will say before I go into details, the second viewing of the film was a lot better than the first, mostly because I got to enjoy the final act. I wasn't stressed out, and I was not anxious the whole time. I was like, great, he's alive, he made it, it's great. I was stressed out during
Did
the
you think they
finale.
were going to kill him off at the end?
I was like, they can't kill him off because that kills Talokan in general, because no one's gonna take that throne. And then the fire pit came up at the end, like when it exploded. I was like, oh my god, that's it. He's done. You can't come back from that. And then, all right, we're good. We're good.
So
But
much anxiety, right?
and plus I was like in the theater, and I had I had a shirt with me, but I was still in the trunk, so I was like freezing too. So it's just like it was a whole ordeal.
Wow.
But I loved it. I was saying too, like I had a list of expectations for Neymar. Like it was like a long list too, like what I wanted to see from him. And I left just like they really checked off every box I really wanted to see. And I left being like, that's the Neymar I've always wanted to see. And I think they nailed him. I mean, it's very Silver Age in terms of like a protector of his people no matter the cost. And he's very extreme about it. Like I like the part when Shuri was like, you're gonna go to war with the whole surface world. And he's like, yeah,
Yeah,
like
of
it's
course I
very
am.
like I declare war on the entire like surface world. Like
It did feel very Silver Age how he was just
yeah,
like, "You're gonna do this." He's like, "Hell yes, I'm gonna do this."
yeah, of course. Like,
what what was on that list of things that you were saying? You know, you had your expectations. I would be curious to know what was on your list.
top of the list was that he was an antagonist, but not a villain. Because that's the one thing that irritates me when he says a villain. I was like, he's not. He just has a different viewpoint. A
Right.
villain, someone like I don't know, like Caecilius or Ronan or something. They're an agenda, and they're just doing villainy things for villain's sake. But he's trying to protect his people.
Right.
Uh, and we'll talk about it later. But also like he goes to war with Wakanda after like Shuri comes in. He shows him Talokan, and then the queen like draws him away, and then Nakia gets everyone out and kills two people in his process. he's probably feels pretty betrayed at that point. Like,
Right. Yeah.
like I invited you into my home and then you escape by tricking me to leave and then kill two of my people. Of course he's gonna be pissed off.
Yeah.
Like that's he's just defending his people. He's extreme. But back to the list is that also like the wings, the ears, the suit in general, but protector of his people. No Namora incest. What's that?
Yeah, let's keep that out of our Disney approved Marvel movies.
Well, they retconned it once in the Agents of Atlas, but Marvel, they'll take one thing and like make it a movie thing, even though
Right.
because they're cousins in the comics. And Agents of Atlas are like, oh well, like my father was like adopted into the royal family, and like technically we're not related anymore. He's like, okay. Like,
and are you reading that like no, 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 like just like
your cousins?
So I love that, like the things that stood out to you, going in were like the little aesthetic choices, like the things that are truly Namor. If you're gonna do Namor, like the wings kind of come with it. And
like, oh, what if they replace him with like fins? I was like, that's not the point though. He can swim without fins.
I saw something. It was like going in, people have all these things like are they really gonna do little wings on his feet? I'm like, we have had multiple movies where there's a talking raccoon in them.
Yeah.
And we're gonna nitpick about wings on someone's feet? Come on.
Yeah.
We got past the talking raccoon. Like, I think we can do this.
And a tree.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah. And his best friend talking tree.
Little tiny tree eating jelly beans, and like that tiny bit of your problem.
Right. It's really funny what people nitpick on. Did you have any other thoughts about Wakanda Forever as a whole? Like going in and this, this being like, hey, maybe hopefully it's not, but this is like Namor's big coming out party to the wider world, because I'm sure there's other fans, like in Namor Nation, there's other fans who like love his stories, but for the most part, this is the first time the wider pop culture is seeing Namor on this stage. So I just want to know if you had any other final thoughts, and then we'll dig into some Namor comics.
That was another requirement of mine. I was like, I want it to be a badass. Like, I feel like the one problem with being a Namor fan over the years is just the jokes sometimes. With comparable to Aquaman, even though he came first, and the name who should not be named is I never liked Rick and Morty to begin with, but now I hate Rick and Morty with a passion because of something they did. And I will not speak of it. But also they made him a total badass, and he could like take anyone. Like they didn't nerf him at all. Like, and also to the point of the ankle wings, like they made them a fucking threat. Like he was just like, I love when he was attacking Wakanda, and you see like those close-up shots of him like turning or like doing a like you see them like, and it's like, oh shit, like they're pretty damn cool. Like no one made a single joke about them either, because sometimes people make jokes about the little ankle wings and the little trunks, and people are thirsting over him and like the everything. So like I think he got introduced properly, and I think people, because here's I don't know if it's my algorithm or what, but I feel like everyone's talking about Namor more than anything else in the movie, and I hope that helps him get a solo.
So, I was curious about him getting a solo film as well, because is he one of those, like, I know with Hulk can't be like the headliner of a show, but like does that apply to Namor?
Honestly,
because the Universal stuff.
One fear is about a Namor film. I was like, is he allowed to have one, or like what's going on with the rights? I hope he does, because I don't know what the deal is, but it must have been a really shitty done deal if like they haven't done a single thing with him and they still hold the rights to him, because they haven't done anything. They've held the rights and they didn't do a single thing with him.
Well, I hope it's not that way. I hope it's not the Hulk treatment where Namor can't have a solo film, because I would love to see that side of the movie, the Telecon part of the movie come back and maybe do like a wider expression of that world. And we know like Namor's got his own supporting cast. It's maybe not as well known, but
anything's big. Like I have like a whole idea of like what I want. I mean,
please tell me Tiger Shark is involved.
Yeah, so here's my trilogy. Ready? So
okay, you're hearing it here first. Let's go.
Kevin, if you're listening. So the first film's got to be because obviously Atuma's a villain in the
Right.
comics. That he started out as like a good guy, or like aside from, which actually kind of makes sense because in 2020's King in Black, by Kurt Busiek, Atuma was Namor's ally for a little bit.
Right. Great
But
series.
I think Atuma's going to be a villain, but I don't think he's going to be alone because they changed him a little bit where he's not a barbarian king. He's like a warrior with Namor. So
Yeah.
you can eliminate that whole rivalry that way. But I said if you team him up with Krang, who's like one of his biggest first villains,
Right.
Krang is very patient. He's conniving. He seems like he's your friend. He's like works for you, but he has his own agenda. And his patience is dangerous because he knows the right moment to strike. So I think if Atuma and Krang team up in this next film, I think that'd be a great start because I think there might be some commotion with like him yielding. So maybe they see it as a sign of weakness or something. So they try to exploit it. And I feel like Krang and Atuma would be great. But they also have to introduce Lady Dorma. I think she's got to be like the Pepper Potts or the Jane Foster. It's like the that's a girl. I feel like she has to be the core center. I don't support Namor Sue, and I never will. So I never want to see that. But it's got to be Lady Dorma. Then Lord Vashti's got to be involved too because you got to include the old man.
Right.
The second film's got to be Tiger Shark with Dr. Dorcas and like Orca and like maybe some experimentation or something with like maybe like American scientists. I don't know.
Trying to make like
then,
animal hybrids of people, very Spider-Man-esque of them.
Yeah, something like that, and like trying to figure out like get telecon genealogy or something. I don't know. That one's like more up in the air, but I don't whatever the story they want to do. But the third film is the big one. They got to do Empress Lyra, who is I think his worst villain, like the most evil under the sea. Like she is just unredeemable. She's horrible, and obviously she kills Lady Dorma on their wedding day. So I feel like that's where Dorma's got to die. But Lyra is like, I mean, people don't know her, but she's the worst villain ever. Like,
I mean, I'll tell you what, you just sold 3 tickets for me. I do find like I have a soft spot for Tiger Shark because I think
I love Tiger Shark.
He's vicious enough to take serious, but he also, he's not gonna win. Like, no. And they're like with us being a Thor show, there's several times where like some of my favorite Thor villains that people don't really know are ones that they're vicious enough to take seriously, but Thor's not gonna lose. Like my first appearance of Uluk the Troll is behind me always. Uluk is my guy. Uluk never gonna win a fight with Thor ever. But I'm excited every time he shows up. So
he's always back, and I love his camp look. I mean, I hated how they made him like the half shark, half human. I like his, purple and orange with the, overly giant, like excessive fin. I think it's so cool. Like I did a cosplay with my one friend as Tiger Shark. I got to do that, and when we were talking about it, I said you got to do the fin. I said you can't skimp out. You got no, you got to be extra. Like it's got to be like just too much.
Tiger Shark's all about being extra.
Like it's got to be obsessively big.
Talking about comic books, there was one book you and I went back and forth like, hey, what would be a good Thor Namor kind of thing to do, and we had landed on a different idea that might be fun to do another time, but then I had totally forgotten that there is a moment in the big crossover from a little while back, Avengers versus X-Men. There's a moment where Namor attacks Wakanda, and the Avengers are tasked with stopping him before he lays waste to Wakanda. And we've already kind of given a synopsis earlier on in the episode, but you got really excited when I mentioned this comic, and I wanted to know, like, the Phoenix story, Avengers, X-Men, like what is this story like? What stands out to you? What do you enjoy about it? Because this is a very Namor-centric part of the crossover.
Well, firstly, it's the costume. I mean, I made that was like one of my first Namor cosplays. I think it's just the sickest costume. Like
it's so good.
All the Phoenix costumes are beautiful. But one thing in particular too, and it's actually ironic because of like Wakanda Forever, is Namor Nation, like when the rumors were first circling about him being in the antagonist for Black Panther, this is well before like Tenoch was even rumored too. This is just like general. We were kind of mad and we were upset. We are like, this fucking sucks. Like he's gonna be a villain. It's gonna be one note, and especially like after like everything with the current Avengers run, we're just like, he's gonna die. It's gonna be this whole thing. So we were pissed because we don't ever see him as a Black Panther villain,
Yeah.
because you know, and a lot of people on the internet are very quick to just post that one panel. You know what I'm talking about, like when he's like flying over Wakanda and like flooding it.
Right.
Everyone
Right.
posts, and they're just like, when we say, "Oh, Namor's not a Black Panther villain," then they're like, "Oh, but what about this?" And we're like, "All right, back it up. Let's do some context."
It's
Like,
no context. Yeah. There's
no,
a
it's like
reason.
the context. He was possessed by the Phoenix Force.
Right.
B, he was going after Wakanda, not personally or politically, and he was going after the Avengers took Hope Summers, the mutant messiah, and they're hiding her in Wakanda. So he's going for the mutant messiah. He's not going for Wakanda. That just happened to be wrong place, wrong time. It could have been fucking Chicago, you know.
Right.
He would
Right.
have been
Right.
same thing. But yeah, so that's what I always like. But you know, then we were laughing about it like a few weeks, like last week, we were saying, wow, it was actually really great, and that was the best Namor we've ever seen. Like Coogler like really got us down. So we were laughing like our old selves like 2 years ago, like being pissed off and upset by this, and we're just like, this is amazing. Like we trust Coogler. Coogler can do no wrong. Like
Not a bad guy to trust. Kugler's got a
no,
pretty good track record.
yeah, he did a great job. So, and I think it's a good storyline in general. I think it's interesting, and the Phoenix Five, and I like how it also just I've also, that was one of the things I read during the pandemic, is I liked the AVX because of Namor, but I had never really fully read the Extinction Era
Yeah.
a little bit. So I read the Extinction Era, and it was cool to reread AVX again once, because I literally read everything from House of M to AVX.
It's a good
It was
run.
Uncanny. Yeah, only the Uncanny X-Men, because I don't have the time for all these other storylines. But
Really,
there
is
it was just
X-Men hard to get into?
yeah,
There's so many
X-Force,
books.
X Initiative, or Ways of X, like whatever.
So much stuff.
But yeah, but it was really cool rereading it again after reading the entire Extinction Era, and like honestly, it's just like, why do the Avengers have to get involved?
Well,
Like,
it you know,
they're in the wrong.
the
Yeah.
probably the trite answer is because money. But then the
Yeah.
storyline, I do love that in this, and we talked about this previously in the episode, that I love that Tony intervenes, and it actually
Yeah.
backfires on him so badly. And then even in
Yeah.
in these issues, he says, he's like, well, I'm gonna just make a suicide suit, and if I have to take out the five by myself, I will. Black Panther bitch slaps him in the face and says, nope, you don't get to go out that way. It's like you have to solve the problem. Basically,
Yeah.
Tony's like, oh, I'll just be a martyr and all, it's like, nope, none of that. And I love
No.
demeanor in this, because he's like, no,
Yeah.
if Namor's coming, like we're gonna do our best. They're gonna get Hope, out of Dodge, and then it takes literally all of them to just put
That's what I
Namor down.
love. Like I mean, I know it was the first one to go out, and I wasn't very happy about that. But at the same time, I was like, okay, at least like he went out like not like a pussy. Like he literally, everyone came at him and literally lost, and it took Wanda to stop him, barely.
And like, I
Like,
mean, Wanda is essentially the only thing that the Phoenix Five fear.
yeah,
And then at the end, she and Hope are the ones that finally, beat Scott.
Yeah.
And it takes they take on the full brunt of the Dark Phoenix. This is the kind of crossover that earns the name crossover. Like
Yeah.
it's an epic, huge story, and I love Namor's part in it. I love Black Panther's part in it. Thor gets a few shots in there, which
Yeah.
I appreciate. But I really enjoyed this comic. I'm glad that you were excited to chat about it, because this is one of my first big crossovers that I got into. My first and my favorite big crossover is always going to be Civil War, and
Yeah.
this one was just a a fantastic action-packed, but also meaningful thing, because the Avengers view it one way, the X-Men view it another way, and it's really a clash of ideals.
Yeah.
And this in the Civil War is similar. It's a clash of ideals. They don't, they hate each other because they see things differently.
Yeah.
And wow, what a fitting theme for even our world today.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed this. I'm glad that you were excited to break it down with us. Is there anything else from maybe Wakanda Forever or AVX that we didn't talk about that you wanted to, or cosplay that you didn't get to talk about and want to just add in here as we close down our chat?
Uh, I think we covered a lot of cool
We
stuff.
did.
I think
Boy, did we.
yeah. I mean, I'm just very happy where I'm at cosplay wise. I'm not stopping anytime soon. With Namor specifically, I'm actually doing his Hellfire Gala look for LA.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, from this year?
This year, yeah, it's kind of bland. I was a little disappointed in it because, Namor has got, he's got the swagger, he's got the ego. Like you expect him to be at for the Hellfire Gala, like a
Yeah.
level of like Doctor Doom or Emma Frost. Like those are, him and Emma
Those
and everyone.
those two looks are Doom
Yeah.
and Emma Frost are very extra when they
Yeah,
go
they're
to the
extra. You
Hellfire Gala.
expect Namor to be extra, and
Right.
it's just a half black, half scaled suit. I'm like, this is it. Like seriously, it's like like I had
It's
all these
another thing to add to the closet.
but I wasn't gonna do it originally but my friend Michelle's she's hosting like this Hellfire Gala event at LA Comic-Con. So it's like everyone's coming and they're dressed up in the Hellfire Gala looks.
Wow.
So she asked me if I wanted to do Namor's look, and I said, well, it's easy, so why not? So
Why not?
just to sew a suit jacket, like that's easy. I could do that in my sleep. So yeah.
So we've got more cosplay is not slowing down anytime soon. And I
No.
know you have some recommendations for people out there that they're tuning into this. We've talked about the movie, we talked about this comic, but also maybe they want to go and read more about Namor. Is there just a few comics you would recommend to people who want to look into Namor more? And then we'll shut this one down.
Of course. I definitely want people to read Namor. The more Namor is read, the more chance he gets his own solo series.
Namor Nation, baby.
Yeah. I'll say though, I'm very proud of that because Namor Nation is a phrase I came up with a while ago.
Oh, awesome.
And we've been using it in our fandom. And Tenoch and a lot of Namor fans have picked it up as like their own thing. So like I see like people's Twitter handles like Namor Nation. I was like, that's me.
Yes, awesome.
Like, that was me. I came up with that. So a little piece of me will forever exist in the fandom going forward. So it's kind of cool. But anyway, if you want to read the best Namor, I would definitely go to the Silver Age. I'm talking like Tales to Astonish 70 to like I think it's 100 or 110 or something. Yeah, it's 110. And then also Submariner 1968, which is 1 through 72. And those are the best Namor comics. I think it's just you get the best cast of characters. Besides me, you get like Atuma, Tiger Shark, Lyra, Lady Dorma. The most of is set underwater, which is the best part. It loses its footing a little bit, like at issue 60. It like doesn't really know what it wants to be, because Roy Thomas left. But it was really just the best run I've ever read with Namor, and I read it all the time. And if you don't have time to read all 72 issues, there's something called the Saga of the Submariner, which is 12 issues, and it basically highlights everything that happened from Tales to Astonish.
Yeah.
My
from the 70s.
It's 1969, so the 70s. Yeah. So
okay, that's what I thought. I thought it was a little later in the Bronze Age.
Yeah, it ends in the Bronze Age, and the next issues after that is my next recommendation is Prince Namor the Submariner. It's a limited series. It's 4 issues. It's one of the best Namor stories I've ever read, like condensed. And it was in the 80s, which is like kind of crazy how well thought out, how deep it was, because it really dived into Atlantean culture and diplomacies, but it also Namor was a restless king because after like Lady Dorma's death and his father's death, both at the hands of Lyra, actually. He was trying to figure out who he was, and and it was really just a heartbreaking story, and he really was trying to figure out what his identity was as a half human, half Atlantean. So it's a really beautiful read. And then
Awesome.
my last one I'll recommend is 2020. Actually, it's Kurt Busiek's King in Black.
Fantastic comic.
So good. It was the best. It's the
Whew.
best I've ever read in the modern age. Like
It's no
recently.
slouch, I'll say that.
No, it's just it's all underwater. You know, it's like early young Namor, young Dorma, and young Atuma. And Atuma's been around forever. But they finally gave Atuma a backstory in this comic, which is like crazy.
Right.
And in the modern age too, they developed Atlantean sorcery and magic. It wasn't really around back, you know, in the 1968 run, but it was kind of more in like the modern age of 2010s. And they gave Lady Dorma a magic side, which is pretty exciting too. So they kind of upped her game with than just being his love. So
she does she's a lot more active in like the conflicts. Which I'm glad, because like you're right, she is a long-standing character. You know, and she actually gets to be active and a part of, she's not that it's bad, but like she's not just a love interest anymore. She can actually hold her own, and she's part of the conflict and the resolution. It's
she saved the day. Like her and Ambrose through her fish, they saved the day. So.
I do love Ambrose, the goldfish man.
the mutant eyes.
Those are all great recommendations. I can honestly say I need to go back and read some Silver Age Submariner. I always read him when he shows up in books, because he shows up in a lot of different books in the Silver Age. People probably know about, he fought the Avengers early on. He fought, the Fantastic Four on several times. But I mean, he shows up in just random places.
All the time.
And so you need to go check out that. King in Black is one of my favorite crossovers. It's so good. The main story is good, and a lot of the little side stories are good too, including Namor's story. But man, thank you so much for hanging out with us a little bit, adding some Telocon information to this chat or review. Just what do you got going on coming up soon, and how can people reach out to you?
Of course. Well, you can find me at Namor Cosplay on all accounts. I'm mostly active on Instagram and Twitter. I get LA Comic Con. I'm currently getting I usually make all my cosplays, but I'm having one commissioned. I'm doing X-Men Red Namor next.
Ooh, boy.
Yeah.
That's a book that doesn't slow down.
Yeah. I love that suit, and like I'm a really good sewer, but there's just so many curves, and I'm not really good at curves. So I was like, I don't want to fuck this suit up and like waste expensive fabric. So I'm just gonna hire someone and save the time. So I'll have X-Men Red sometime before WonderCon. So that's probably my next suit. So
fantastic. Thanks again, everybody listening. Go check out at Namor Cosplay. Be sure to follow and like things and comment. I'm positive that the tides are not going to slow down anytime soon. So you can also go check us out at Mighty Thor Podcast, where we're going to be releasing a few Thanksgiving episodes this week. And if you're part of our Thor Corps on Patreon, we've got bunch of bonus content coming up for Thanksgiving, because we're so thankful for you, and we wanted to give you a few extra little tidbits to feast upon this week. We've got a lot of great episodes coming out in December. We're going to drop an episode on our Patreon this week talking about our December schedule, and it is a bunch of awesome stuff that Will, Faz, and I have been putting together. We're really excited about it. And we have a lot of Walt Simonson news for 2023 that's going to happen. It's pretty official now. We're going to be doing Walt Simonson in 2023. Once we finish up Jason Aaron's Thor in a few weeks, we're going to start Walt Simonson's Thor, and it is going to be an epic 2023. So all of that, I'm really excited about it. We're just so thankful that you've decided to listen today. As we head out today, you're headed to possibly some Friendsgivings, some family Thanksgivings, whatever you're going to do this week. We just ask you to do one thing. It's the thing that we ask you to do every single episode, and that is to stay worthy.